Welcome to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur, where we shine the light on the blind side of entrepreneurship. It's your host, Arrow J. Allen, with
Jessica Myers. How you feeling today?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing very well, especially with our guest that we have today. When I tell you she is the plug, and normally she don't come out to peek and be on camera. So we are very lucky that we have the amazing founder of Phenomenal Hughes, Miss Donnetta Wells. How you feeling?
I'm feeling well. Jessica, how you doing?
Oh, I am amazing. I'm amazing.
Good.
Can you, I know I tried to give a little bit of an intro, but can you speak to more of where you are right now, what all you have your hands in, and how you really are doing the work to help the community?
Absolutely. So probably for at least the last 15 years, I've been on a mission to educate minority or underserved communities about access to capital, different ways to think about it, and be in a situation where you necessarily don't have to ask to fix the problems in your community. So I'm on a mission to build a new investor class where we're investing in ourselves, taking care of our own problems, using our monies and our different wealth and assets and not always cash to fix the problems in our community and to elevate ourselves. So that's been the mission. But I came from a corporate banking background for a very, very long time. Came out of college doing actuary, a lot of cubicle all by myself. I'm very comfortable in my cubicle with my numbers.
And just getting it, just typing away.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, because I don't think I've ever asked you this. When you're working in corporate, what is the biggest deal that you ever worked on?
So I did a bond refunding deal for Alabama State University. Shout out to the honeybees. And and I did that refinancing was $216 million.
Wow.
The amazing thing about that, it was like an all black transaction. So that's very rare at that that amount. So the attorneys, the broker dealers, the client, everybody at the table. And so that table was just sitting at that close, and it was, we was talking about the potato salad, but we were getting to the business. So it was so I know that we live there, we can be there, we can do things in excellence. And so I'm just trying to make sure that happens more often, and I'm witness to it. Really. So, yeah, $235 million, Alabama. But I'm usually, with these type of bond deals, you're usually in that 8-figure area, or nobody's getting out of bed. Nobody's getting out of a bed for a deal for less than $25 million. So if I'm telling you I'm doing a bond deal, it's going to be around that amount.
Not leaving bed for less than 8 figures.
No, they're not. They'll tell you. We were at the Brew Conference, that guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
he
they not getting out.
Less than $25 million, I'm sure.
Not getting out of bed.
So walk us through the journey. So you said you start off in corporate, right?
Yes.
So even before that, early on, did you even aspire to do everything that you're doing right now? What was the humble beginnings looking like?
So just younger, I always had a perplexity for numbers and putting things together with that. So anything like my dad kind of used to use me to remember stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it's always been, we're going to make sure she go to school. We're going to make sure she does that. And then you're going to come back and do stuff. I had the upbringing where me and my cousins used to have to go to my grandparents' house and go to Black History class. So I always had the revolutionary side. I got to go back out and bring it back in. So my gift, God gives you gifts and talents to help feed yourself. So my gift was this way of looking at numbers and being able to kind of structure things financially. So that was the gift. So I always went to FAMU, was not planning necessarily. I actually wanted to be in this part of things, like the medium, until they actually put the lights on me. I'm like, oh, this might not be for me. Then they told me with these internships that I was going to get out of college making $19,000 if I was lucky. And I'm like, So I just kind of gravitated toward that, and I actually did an internship for an accounting firm, Ernst & Young, and I got out working for an insurance company to do actuary. It was kind of boring. So you imagine being, 23 years old in a cubicle for 7-8 hours a day. I still want to get it at 23. So after a while, that got kind of And then just imagine working like 6 figures, no kids, and being 23, 24 years old. Then, you find stuff to do, maybe not always the most productive things. And then I started working for a firm, and it was, they wouldn't allow me to kind of work with the cities that I wanted to work with. It was like I got called in when they needed somebody that was melanated or they needed a woman to get whatever points they need when they were out trying to maybe get things. So I got called when they went to Houston and Atlanta and D.C. and Detroit. But if I came to them and said, I want to help a city like Stonecrest, there was no love for that. So after a few years and I got a few transactions under my belt, I went with another lady who was another black lady, and she started her own firm in Arkansas. And I worked for her for a while. That's how I got to the ASU deal and a few other HBCU deals, and I kind of got known in that world to help, folks that look like me, and it's kind of been ever since. So I had to expand so that I can meet people where they live and do other types of finance. And now I'm a good student of what is crowdfunding that came in the 2008 Jobs Act. Obama signed it in. So I've really been trying to push the crowdfunding ever since then. I've been on my own so that we can use collective economics to get our problems fixed in our neighborhoods. That's my main thing, for people to understand how to really utilize the money where it'll come back to you. Like, don't be afraid to let it out, because it'll come back, and just make sure that you letting it go in the right place that's going to feed you, as opposed to these other places that are just taken, never put back in. So that's the journey. Just wanted to do stuff on my own. And so, a little aside, I was working at a bank that I can't name because I signed an agreement. But basically, I saw some of the things that they were doing that they weren't supposed to be doing. And my job was to point these things out so that they could correct them. And then it got to the point where they were asking me, is it illegal? I'm like, no, but it's kind of unethical. And I'm like, okay, this is not where I need to be if the question is whether it's illegal or ethical. So I pointed out a few things. They didn't like it, so they basically gave me 2 years worth of my salary to go on about my business and sign a note. And so that's where my firm was born, from that settlement.
What a buyout! They gave you 2 years payment up front.
It was cheaper than the fines they would have gotten had I
up front.
And if I had known,
and you was making 6 figures at the time too,
I was
right?
27 and silly, because I could have got more had I known what they were doing and what that was at stake. I just didn't know, because somebody waving 6 figures and go up, and I didn't have a non-compete. I could go work right away. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Then I told a few more seasoned professionals, they were like, girl, you could have got a couple million out of that.
Wow. You
probably saved them about 10, 15 million by catching it. So now I know, and I preach it all the time. But yeah,
you was invited to leave.
Yeah, they was like, sis, no, because you trying to do the right thing. We just trying to meet the minimum so we don't get fined.
So you said that's when you started off your company.
Correct.
So when did you discover your superpower being? And I know Jessica said you're like the plug, but I think we're a little bit beyond that. It's probably the outlet. Like you source
that's
the
plug. Idea.
When did you discover your superpower being this like major connector and just bringing life to major deals? We want to talk about a few of them, like Privy and whatnot. Yeah. When did you like discover like, this is something I actually can like take them?
Actually, to be honest with you, Jessica was the one that really said like labeled it, but for me it's just, we gotta win. And so if I have to be the leader to pull people in together, then that's what I'm gonna do. And then secondly, I'm very much about the transaction, which I've been told can be a problem because I'm very
y'all are alike.
we look at the numbers. I already
ain't making challenge, it ain't making sense. You said you ain't get out of bed for less than how much? She just say getting out of bed for
8 figures. Yeah, I need to raise my standards. Thank you.
How much were you?
I mean, at least 500,000 just for my feet to touch the floor and hop on a Zoom. Right. That's at least 500 to 1,000 just to entertain it. And it depends on how long it's going to be. First of all, if you need like an hour of my time, that's a little more. But just to get off my bed, feet hit the floor, minimum.
And she like,
but you over here at 25 million.
I'm saying to other people,
you with those people.
It don't have to be 8, but 6 at least. Come on, man.
So yeah, I need to raise my standards.
No,
Thank you for
joking.
2025. I'll do better.
No, we going parabolic.
We gonna go parabolic 2025.
Listen, this morning, 2 of my best friends, shout out to Laura and Ashley, both said to me, "You need in 2025 learn how to say no." Because I am so helpful, because I do get out the bed for nothing. Sometimes I get out of bed and it costs me to make sure that other people are where they need to be so that everything I'm talking about in my head works. So I'm definitely, but the people that need to be paying. Like if you're going to take what I have or and go with it, and you're not going to pour back into the people that are helping make this happen, then you need to come with the check and we'll figure it out for ourselves. But otherwise, it's not really about that. It's definitely about being willing to kind of make that sacrifice and create a network or a community where people can feel safe to share their ideas so we can grow. Because if you're afraid to ideate freely because you think somebody finna take your idea and that kind of stuff, then we'll never hear or really know like the depth of all the talent and brilliance that's around us. So my whole thing is like to create a situation where, okay, I'll make you feel comfortable because I'm going to put in first so you can see what it is, and I'm going to invite you in to my circle and see how that works, and then I'm going to purposely put you in places that I know what you do will work with what this person does, or this will hype what you're doing so that you feel comfortable, so that the next person that's on the outside will say, you know somebody, because this is what happens now to me. You know somebody that does that? And my answer is usually yes. Hold on. Let me see if they call. And then now it's at the point where now everybody knows if I call, that's what I'm calling for. So they pick up the phone. Yeah, because you know it's going to come with a check at the end, or I'm not calling you.
If Donnetta calls, you answer.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you're lucky enough to have Donnetta's number, don't lose it. Ever.
Yes. Yep, for sure. It is definitely that thing.
So one thing, because I like to highlight people's like, changing points and pivoting moments in their stories and whatnot. So you was invited to leave by the higher ups at your corporate job.
Yeah.
Would you have ever gone into the entrepreneur space if he wasn't given that hefty buyout? Would that still be like a looming thought you would have acted on eventually, or would have just... it may have never came to pass because the circumstances never lined up?
No, for sure would have.
It would have?
Yeah, because like my family is full of entrepreneurs. Like my grandmother had like a daycare, made dresses, never worked corporate, but she out and living in a house paid for not too far from where Bill Clinton lives right now.
Oh, wow.
So it's always been like, figure out what your tools and talents, use those to feed yourself. That's always kind of been ingrained. And then on the other side, my grandparents had like restaurants and all that. And then my grandfather was like the guy in the neighborhood that would pick up all the kids and take them to baseball practice and stuff like that. So it was always like community, work for yourself, be independent. So it was always that thing. But it was also like get an education, go smart, go on the inside, learn what they know, come back outside, bring it to your people. So it was always that thing. So I was always going to go in that direction. I just didn't think it was so young. But even there, when I was, and this all happened in St. Louis, I had a nightclub that I was running at 27 years old. I had a mortgage company that was my mortgage company. I had 7 people working for them. 3 of them was related to me and my elders, so they didn't respect me. So I was doing about 4 people jobs because they'll be like, expect their paycheck, but like, who you talking to when I ask them to do stuff and what I'm going to say, yes, ma'am, because that's what it was. But young then. But even then, I was already doing other stuff and understood like the mission, like understood the role I was going to play, understood that I was there to get information and bring it back, sit at the table. I always make a reference to James Baldwin, The Spook by the Door, because that's what I was, because black women in those settings, a lot of times, they get lost and they just get loose because they trust you, they feel comfortable, and one, they know or they feel like you don't have the power to affect anything they're doing, so they could just speak to you freely because what you gonna do about it kind of a situation. But that was good for me because I ended up kind of really seeing how things work and understanding that this thing is really about access, not about necessarily how smart you are or how, because they really, a lot of people in power are not the smartest people. They just have the most power or the most influence. So
who you know, not what you know.
Exactly. So it was always a mission. But when they started asking me whether it was ethical or legal, it's like, I don't want to lose. They were already putting me in a position where they had me in areas that they were planning to gentrify. It was a bank. A large blank. If I told you who it was, you would know. But I signed the thing, so I can't. But
I have a good feeling. Actually,
when we get off air, I'll tell you though. But
I actually already know, ironically.
So they were in here like basically redlining, and they were calling these neighborhoods black holes, and would tell me, "Oh, don't get offended. We didn't mean black for race. We just meant black because money goes in there and never comes back out."
No, maybe a double entendre.
It was.
All right, now.
Exactly.
So no.
They show. Anyway.
Yes, that's what happened. So, I was already put out there, and I was like, I don't want to lose my card to come back into my neighborhoods because I'm out here like raping them, basically, because that's what it was. I'm taking folks. They wanted me to sell, buy houses from people, under market, which is usually the thing. But then you putting people that had these houses in their families for years, they thinking $60,000, $100,000 is a lot of money. But then when you go try to go buy another house, you got to find money that you got a mortgage when you didn't have one. This house is not built the same as this house that was built in 1920. That's 3 stories brick.
And they're probably not bankable.
Nope. Not anymore. They retired.
Yeah.
So now I got them in these situations where people are homeless after a couple of years because they spent the money because they've never had that kind of money at one time. So, that was where they were putting me out. And I was like, nah, y'all gonna have. And then they started that ethical conversation. I was like, no, all money ain't good money.
That's how I felt as a wholesaler one time. That happened to me where, I'm thinking we putting money in the lady pockets. And they were like a couple of weeks later, because I went back and drove by, and they were like, somebody saw her at the gas station in her robe and slippers buying lotto tickets. And I was like, oh my God, like that was not the point. When I put the money in her hands, she said, I'm going to go to here. It's going to pay for 5 months worth of my stay here. And I don't know what happened. And it was like, wow. And that's why I think it's so important for programs and what you do. And keeping people focused. And it's like when I stay focused here, I don't get caught up in the noise of, okay, I'm going to go travel and spend my money on liabilities versus assets.
That's right.
Versus ways to make, do with what I get.
Right.
Speaking of liabilities and assets, let's just walking down memory lane. 27 years old, and you own a club and a mortgage business. That's literally fire and water. That's the most polar opposite as you can get.
Never.
How did that happen?
Fire and ice.
They're two different things. All that's
strip
the
club?
same. No.
Oh, okay.
Might as well have been though.
But
you know how y'all go to the club. Listen. It might as well have been.
How did these opportunities come to pass?
Just because being in, so I help to, and there will be several people to verify this. So none of this stuff I'm telling you is made up.
Tell them to drop a comment on YouTube.
Listen, please. Anybody from St. Louis that knows me knows what I'm saying is the case. I personally help to flip half of what they call St. Louis, the south side of St. Louis.
Okay.
So we talking about buying stuff, 30, 40, 2 and 4 families for $30,000, $40,000, and 6 months they worth $260,000, and flipping those to people. So I was flipping people in, and no money down, giving them money to kind of hold the properties to fix them. So it became kind of like the thing. And then before I knew it, people were kind of coming, and then I would meet people like of different nationalities, and I kind of feel like you could drop me anywhere in the world, I'm gonna be fine.
Yep.
Kind of situation. So I think that comes off. So like we could be on a Zoom at any time, and it might be 3 or 4 continents represented, like while I'm on the phone. So this happened that I met a few people that were from Afghanistan, and they owned like 300 or 400 properties in this area in St. Louis. And I just start rolling, and then next thing I know, it's the Asian people, it's the Arab people, it's black people, white people. A lot of LGBT community was big because that's usually the forerunners of the gentrification. They come in, they redo a place. I got to be known as the rainbow broker, and it was what I did. And before I knew it, I had a mortgage company like right in the middle of it because it was necessary, because I was giving all my. I don't like paying people so much for stuff I can do. I don't mind it coming through me, but like I don't like just handing over my stuff. So like if I see a deficiency, I'm gonna figure out how I can start a business. So started the club happened because
y'all need to start a party.
Yeah, I know. You need to relax.
I had a lot of
You
cash.
gotta celebrate. I gotta celebrate. We all
Come
got
on
houses.
over to what was it called? What was it called at the time?
What?
The club.
Are you a busy corporate professional looking to generate some extra passive income without taking on a second job? Or are you just an individual who's tired of having too much months at the end of their money and not money at the end of their month? What if I told you there was a way that you could generate a 6-figure cash flow machine off other people's properties that you don't even own in 7 steps? So for those who don't know, my name is Errol J. Allen. I've been a full-time short-term / mid-terminal operator for the past 6 years. And I show people how to generate explosive amounts of passive income with other people's properties that they don't even own. And what I've done is I decided to take those 6 years worth of experience, strategy, trials and tribulations, and boil it all together into one simple ebook called Getting Paid Away, the 7 steps to building your 6-figure Airbnb portfolio. So if you want to grab a copy of it, all you gotta do is click the link right here, get your copy, get the information, and make 2025 the best year and beyond.
It was called The Living Room.
Come on over to the living room,
It was
y'all.
3 stories in downtown St. Louis, Locust Avenue. Anybody that was around in the early 2000s know I'm telling the truth. So as a matter of fact, the guy that owns Boogaloo right now, John, was the proprietor of that club down there in St. Louis. So that there's reference for everybody. But yeah, we needed money. You know, I'm flipping these houses and I understand how we can have our own economy. So there were a lot of people that, had disposable income that they wanted to make investments. And why not a cash nightclub and real estate development? So in my mind, they go together. But I can kind of see how they could be total opposites. But they're both, revenue generating businesses, and one is more cash based and one is more asset based, and you put them together and you win.
Hey, you made it work.
I didn't get much rest because you out the nightclub at 3 and back at work at 9 to listen to your aunties not do no work. But other than that, it was a great time. I was young, so I could kind of handle it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that
I was
now.
like, that's nothing.
I couldn't do that now. I had 3 jobs then. I would have that nightclub. I had the mortgage company, and I was working I was working for a bank at the time as a night auditor. So I had 3 jobs at that time. Yep.
So what would you say in terms of like at that point in time would be some major like lessons or gems that you've learned in your entrepreneurial hustle?
Same thing you said earlier. It's about who you know and building relationships first because the money comes. So if you out here chasing the money, you'll never get it. You cannot chase money. So do not do that. Do not chase the money. Make sure it's a good deal. And then take the steps, but no chasing money. If you out here just chasing commissions, they'll not come. So if you don't do that, you take the time to invest in yourself. And by that, I mean building a good network, cutting people off that shouldn't be there, like really protect yourself and who you are in this business. Like whatever your vision was that made you jump off the porch and be an entrepreneur, because it's crazy to be an entrepreneur. Like, why would you do this to yourself kind of a thing? So make sure that you, whatever that is, you stick to that thing and don't let anybody change it. And anybody that's not with your program, cut them off because they blocking the space for the money to come from somebody else or the revenue to come or the relationship to come because you got them in that space. You got to be willing to invest in yourself enough to cut people off. It might hurt a little bit, and then be willing to take some risk. Educated, collective risk, and never go into these things by yourself or go into these things thinking you're going to accomplish anything by yourself, because that's not going to happen either. So, like, understand that. And lastly, just because you are the bomb and you think a certain way, the people you hire ain't going to care about it the way the people you work with ain't going to care about it the same way you are. So don't think that stuff is going to go a certain way because you know what you would do or you could do it. Like, sometimes you really got to, give grace to the people that are going to help you do that thing. So that's the most important thing, patience and grace, so that you can really get to the next level. Because if you don't have that, then you're not going to be able to get people's energy and time and all that to help move your thing forward. So it's really about Jessica's thing, the mindset, and not chasing the money. Because if you in it for the money or chasing the money, it's not going to come. And if you do get it, it's going to be gone so fast. And then it's going to be harder to come back around the next time. I could guarantee that. Because that severance I talked to you about, I thought I was going to save the world with that severance at 26 years old. That stuff was gone in 8 months. But luckily, I had made some good. I had made some investments with it at least. Bought some buildings and stuff. But, yeah, if I hadn't have done that, like.
But you heard that some buildings.
Yeah, I got some buildings. Okay. Yeah, I got a few. I heard. I peeped.
Like, you didn't say houses. You said about some buildings.
Commercial buildings. I knew better by that time. But, yeah. Absolutely.
How was your personal life at this point? Was you talking to anybody? Like, I mean, you over here looking like Superwoman. I can imagine, like.
Not really. It's not conducive to that. Or maybe I wasn't looking because you're so busy all the time. And don't nobody want to deal with somebody that is not making room or space. And I understood that at the time. But, 27, 28, okay, roll with it. Like, it wasn't a problem. And then, I was really focused on like building and reputation, the money, like being known. So I was now slowing down. Into it now, understand. So I do understand that I got to make space for that. But yeah, it was not an important thing. And then I looked up at I had a mentor that told me she went to bed at 25 and she woke up and she was 40. And I was like, girl, please, this takes so long, But that happened to me. I went to bed at 25. I woke up, I was 40. And I don't know what happened in that middle part. Like, those things weren't established. I have a good reputation and a good business and that kind of thing, but not much else as far as that's concerned. But, yeah. Okay. So I don't know that balance. I'm here for y'all to help me. I watch your podcast to hear what other entrepreneurs are going through to kind of figure out how I get to that balance because somebody need to help.
Well, I'm going to tell, at least from my personal experience, and maybe people could chime in the comments about this, but there ain't no balance. Ain't no balance. I'm just telling you right now, ain't no balance.
Don't do that. Don't crush
that's
me.
what I love about entrepreneurship, though, because even being married, like, I spend so much time with my husband because we're both entrepreneurs.
Nice.
So, and I was like, this is what they try to make us wait to our 60s and 70s to do. And by then, like, you talk about ice packs. You need all kind of stuff by then. And it's like, we get to live that now as entrepreneurs by we owning our time.
That's right.
And that is the most precious part. So that's what I'm excited about.
Okay, awesome.
That's cool.
So what are some of the projects that you got working on now? I know you got Digital Dee,
yes,
which is getting your mind right.
Yes.
So if you heard of ChatGPT, and she has created her own GPT on that platform. Okay. That literally, if you've seen the movie Lucy, where it puts her brain into consciousness, that's what pretty much she put her brain and her deals and case studies of the deals that she's seen through the years, and she put it into this GPT. Okay. And it's targeted at helping businesses get funding that they need. That's the zeitgeist. So what types of questions do you ask, or what's the most interesting question can somebody ask Digital Dee?
So I think the best thing about the diversity of Digital Dee is that it's all types of finance. It's bank, it's crowdfunding, it's grant funding, it's bootstrapping, the best way to do that if your credit sucks and nobody believes in you, for you not to stop.
Wait, do I have to tell it that? Like, you know how you have to talk to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's a baby, yeah.
Yes.
She gonna ask.
So do you be like, my credit sucks. What can I do to still get funding for my business?
And she go reply back, bootstrapping and all kinds of this Digital Dee understands how we uniquely have to navigate the capital raise as entrepreneurs of Hugh. So that's the biggest thing about it, is really my brain in this thing, my case studies, real underwriting matrices, real RFPs that have won opportunities that can help you write your business plan.
What does RFP stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry. Request for proposals. So bids from the government when they need you to do work. I'm a very big proponent of only using grants in for a nonprofit that provides services. Otherwise, you need to look at the government as another one of your customers. So I'm really focused on getting us together and getting our books together so we can do business with the government, not be help me, help me, help me. No, listen, I do this. You need what I do. Pay me. And that's it. Like, they don't need to know how you going to do it and all that. So when you apply for grants and stuff like that, you got to tell them everything. When you do business with them, this is my product. They don't need to know the ingredients or the way you do it. They're going to look at your track record and decide if that service matches what they need, and that's it. So a lot of times we don't even understand, like, the assets that we're giving away asking for help. That's what they'll take your idea and they'll put it where the resources are, and that has happened to people, a lot of people that I know. So I'm definitely this Digital Dee is really kind of focused on getting you ready to be a bankable CEO that doesn't need a bank. That's really the premise of what she's going to talk about. So I think that's the most unique thing, because she's not just spitting out the stuff you're going to go on Google and find out how do I get a loan or something like that, because she's going to ask you, how's your credit? Like, when you say what you want to do, one of the questions that come up on the GPT is how is your credit? And so, because she understands.
Can't say it sucks. You gotta say
no. You gotta give
her some tangible numbers.
You gotta give her some scores. Like what's your
report up there?
Yeah. And then there's some access for you to go and get it run and tell you how to do things. But it is a step by step. So it's not like, she will bring you down. Like, okay, well, that's a great goal, but let's start here first, because you said this thing, so that's probably not going to happen that way. So it does interact like that. So that's why I'm so proud of it. And the more people I get to interact, the more people that ask it questions, the better she gets at giving these answers. So I'm like a proud mama watching this thing grow up. Yeah. So I'm excited about the whole thing.
But not even that, like you said, so it grows up to the point, and I mean, in internet years, it's a lot different, right?
Yes.
So if you said you are backed by a sponsor.
Yes.
That when triggered with 10,000 users.
Yes.
What happens to that baby?
So when I get 10,000, we're running a campaign called 10,000 Questions. So I'm on a mission to get 10,000 separate people to query questions to Digital Dee. When that happens, that unlocks Digital Dee to then become a funder of businesses. So I have a few, actually, someone that came on your show, I'm partnered with Alfredo and the PMF Academy. And when we get to the point of these, usually Coke Ventures will then unlock funding that we will be able to give basically angel funding to startup entrepreneurs. So that's the campaign. And then personally, I would like to give grants and things like that to people that I see are starting, where, a few $1,000s might change them from just a dream to something tangible and real that we can build, and then just kind of shoot things their way and help them in that manner. So there are some things that aren't necessarily cash, but still capital that I can put into you and help you grow your business. So 10,000 Questions makes it real, makes it relevant to some of these Fortune 100 companies, so that they'll put back in and trust that we're going to distribute it in a way that's really going to make a difference.
Okay. Name me another AI company that's doing that. I'll wait.
I don't have one.
There you go. So y'all better be out there using Digital Dee on the GPT platform, right? So they just go to the Explorer, you pull up GPT.
They can go to thedigitalD.com because because the people that I'm talking about have already paid, so that we're not even on ChatGPT anymore. We're on our own.
Oh, excuse me.
Our own. Yeah, that's okay, Jess. You ain't know.
Okay. My thedigitalD.com.
So no more ChatGPT. We are on our own platform. But yeah, so we get to keep our own data. And people, the new asset is data. Stop giving your data for free. Let's figure out how to monetize it. But we get to keep our own data, and our purpose is just that. So the more we get melanated people to interact, the more data, the more they're going to come to us, and we can leverage it so we can eat off that. But that is going to be our new asset class, is going to be data, you know. So like, let's figure out how to like collectively get our data together, because they want to know what we're doing, because we drive everything, so many different sectors. Especially in the consumer classes. So we need to make sure that, we monetize our own data.
So another one of your projects that I'm very interested on and actually looking forward to, very having our event in that is the Privy space.
Yes.
Could you talk about how, one, that deal came to pass, and then we actually went to go tour it and, go be having our event there coming up soon. Can you talk about just how that came to be?
Yeah, so Vaughn and Cassandra Irons are like very awesome entrepreneurs and community stakeholders in Stonecrest, Georgia, which is a baby city. It is less than 7 years old.
Yeah,
I
they
guess
recently
at this point.
annexed.
Recently annexed city,
Yeah.
right in between, it's in DeKalb County, but it's in between like Conyers and Lithonia, that little space there. And Vaughn, who is the developer of this project, was one of the founders of that city. So I actually was on a panel that Vaughn was supposed to be on with Dame Dash earlier this year, and his wife was there. We started talking. I told her what I did. She told me what she was doing, and then her husband, she gave a kidney so that her husband could get a kidney, and I didn't talk to them for a while, and then we just kind of came back into the ethos. They've done an awesome job of what they finished there at the old Sears building in the Stonecrest Mall. They've gotten phase 1 and 2, which included a Sequest, and then this bottom part that has like art galleries,
bookstores.
Yeah, help me out, y'all.
Event space,
Radio
dope spot.
station, everything that you need as a creator and somewhere to release your mind. Saunas,
Yeah, I was about
indoor
to say sauna,
saunas.
too.
Then you got MMA, so if you want to fight somebody, come
Oh, yeah,
kick a
because
few
you're a big
things.
MMA fan.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Cage. They had
He
actual
actually
cage
put on
message.
his gloves and
You
started.
did that?
Yeah, I did a little sparring.
A little sparring. Just knock somebody out right
I was just
quick.
hitting the bag. I wasn't doing crazy.
Okay.
I mean, do you see those arms?
Well, you don't want to hurt nobody.
Only used for necessary.
Okay, understood. So you have all those things there, and then a banquet space, and so hopefully when you get your event there, we'll bring people in to see the space. But they have a 15 spot food hall, and it has like Divine Nine History Museum, a speakeasy, which is a private club, a golf, axe throwing. So
It's
and
reimagining the mall.
yeah.
What were you about to say?
You don't need to leave.
Yeah.
All you need is a place for them to lay their heads at
That's
night.
it. And that's the next phase. We're gonna put a hotel in the parking
It's
lot.
hotels right there. It's
Yeah, right.
Beat me to
That's
it.
the next phase. So so that came about. Just met them, and they're gonna be kind of like our primary and our first crowdfunding raise is to finish up the food hall.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last phase. It's if you walked in, it's pretty much ready to go. You can see that there's very little left to do. For the build out there. So that's what we're trying to get them over the last mile, and raise the last of the money they need without having to go to a bank or go outside of our community. Because to be perfectly honest, this is going to be proof positive that we can go in and do these types of developments. And these structures, these malls are dying out all over the country. And a lot of them are in areas where we are the predominant citizen in the area. So if we can come in, it gives us a place to keep our money in our communities instead of having to go like outside of our communities for our entertainment, for our basic needs, for our healthcare needs. Like our neighborhoods used to be like this before we thought that the other side was better. You know what I mean? So that's what this is going to allow. We're going to bring everything to the people, so it's right there. So that's the mission.
One of the beautiful things I love what you just said was no banks involved.
Yeah.
No finance. It's literally all by everyday people.
Yep.
Investors, you and I,
Yep.
who just, had a dream or vision and then just
Yep.
let people know, and hey, there's an opportunity to invest in it.
That's right.
That's why I'm constantly talking to people about their vision and dream, and they're just like, wait, just let me get to the numbers. And I'm like, you don't know who you're standing next to, who you're walking by, because we just met at a table, but we had the same vision, and it's similar, and it was like, we got some alignment here. Let's go. We said, how many days to make $1 million?
What we say?
90
90 days. 90 days to $1 million.
days.
Yeah.
90 days. And I'm like, let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's skyrocket.
Yeah.
Let's
Not
get
nervous about
parabolic.
that at all. That's nothing.
Listen, if it takes at least 25 for you to get out of bed, 90 days to get a one. I think y'all in good hands.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's dope that you guys are really reinventing the mall concept
Yes.
because that is I'm not gonna say it is a dime mall, but it is definitely not as a forefront as it used to be years ago. Where what do you do on the weekend? Oh, I'm going to the mall with my friends.
We used to go hang out.
You got PlayStation, you got VR, like so many things. Like, why go there now?
Right.
So this is a
Amazon, that really killed the industry, changed it. That's what this is all about, like being a disruptor, because retail is different. So now we have to create experiences because people are not just going to the mall to shop anymore. So if that's your only draw is that I got a few stores, you're not gonna make it. So that's what this is all about. There's like an amusement park for kids, like whatever can draw people back in to these spaces and to give them what they need so they don't have to go anywhere else.
I know you're getting a lot of great info, but hold on for 2 seconds.
So as you guys know, me and Jessica, we run the All Things Entrepreneur Show. We have a dope conversation with dope entrepreneurs. But you're probably wondering, how are you able to do this while still running multiple business ventures and doing things? Well, that's why we put together
our ATE podcast starter kit, where it's giving you all the tea of what we do and our systems that we use to streamline the process so that you can get started today.
So if you want to grab a copy of that, just check out the description down below, get your podcast starter kit, and start systemizing, streamlining, and launching your podcast.
Now get back to the information, because I know you're taking notes. You know you got it. Let's get it.
Let's go.
The best thing about it, you create an experience.
That's right.
People will show up and pay for an experience.
That's right.
And that translates in every space of business. I have in my rental business, I have a tiny home, 1 bedroom, 600 square feet. I got 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses that make, a couple $1,000s a month. They do really good. But that tiny home doubles that.
Yeah, because people like it.
Because it's an experience.
Wow.
It's because of an experience. It's not because it's a bigger house. It's not because of where it's located. It's an experience, and people pay for it.
Wow.
That's right.
One of my best producers. I want to get another one. But yeah, so.
Well, she's partnered with the person you're probably talking about.
Oh, well then, God dang, small
like,
world.
She connected to everybody.
Small world.
I promise you.
I know somebody who knows somebody.
I promise.
So then and actually, before we actually ask the big vision, just in that specific project, what were some hurdles or things that had to be overcome throughout that process?
Just like people knowing. This, again, is a new thing where I'm coming to the public. So typically you go to a few investors that are institutional investors, and in these types of projects.
Yeah.
So this idea that we could fund a project of this size is a new thing. So that's an overcome, just being new to me. And then getting people to understand that they can be a part of this. And it not be just about, and understanding it is not about the number, and getting people to understand and investing is about the percentages. As long as you don't lose money and you're making 20-30% annually a year, it might not be a lot, but you only put in $1,000. Like, what? This ain't the streets. Like, you're not finna double your money in 60 days. That's not how this works.
And the $1,000 you got sitting in your bank account is making 0.02% interest. Right. Meanwhile, while the big banks are making 40% on your same money. So what we talking about?
People will jump on me like, that ain't enough. And I'm like, it's not making you nothing now. What are you saying? You made 10 cents all year in that savings account that money was sitting in. You do understand this, right? But that's not enough. So anyway, I'm just saying that's my hardest part, is to get people to understand and be realistic with the comparison. Like, just because I'm bringing it to you doesn't mean that you gonna charge me the black tax. Like, I'm still a numbers person regardless of the color that I am. So no, I'm not getting ready to pay you 100% return on your money. That's not real. So if I do stuff like that, then the project won't finish, and then everybody fails. So until we really understand the concept of group economics and the concept of like the same trust you have in Visa and all these people, and even just going to work and giving your time and just hoping that your check gonna be there on Friday, that's a risk.
Yep.
You understand? You take it all the time, cool with it, and never think that and there's people that tell that story. I'm not saying this because it really happened to people. They worked all week and went there, and there was no job, and they still fighting to get some of their money back. I know people that invested in banks. Banks closed the door. They got $300,000-$400,000. They got shares in the bank. Is worthless. We can go over somebody's house right now. He got a basket full of shares that he had in the bank that are worthless now. Ain't worth the paper that is written on. So this idea that we have all this faith in banks, and if people really understood like this system that we're in, like this is the third version. They failed 2 or 3 times before we got to this thing. So this comfort that you have that we always gonna be taken care of, that's not real. They putting it there, but do a little research. Go back to before 1920 and see how much they messed up. It'll really change your mindset and not be so confident in the people that we think understand money. And no, they don't. They don't know any more than you do, and the education is there for you as well. They are learning the same books, the same processes. There's no reason why we shouldn't be in those positions. So like I said, my mission is to invent a new investor class that understands that those people over there, even though it's all shiny, they still are the same people. And you have access and you can decide what to do with your money. You don't have to listen to them. And then understand when you put your money in there, they are taking that money 9 to 1 and giving it to who they want to, and they not going to look like you. Mm-hmm. So why are you like believing that they really getting ready to help you get, that's just not real. And I'm not, and I don't want people to like think that, however you got to do what you have to do, but just as you doing it, just be realistic about what you really doing. Like you begging them to give you the money that they really owe you. If you understood that, they really owe you this money because they're playing with your money all the time.
Yep.
All the time. And they're making money off of your money every day. And they can't let you participate. Like, why I can't get $1 out the 9? Come on, man. You gonna deny me, but you making money. So if you understand that, then you'll be less likely just to leave your money sitting there and come take a little risk with us. The building is there in Privy. You can see it's gonna be secured with a lien on the building. So, like, if you willing to leave your money in your mutual fund and let somebody else put it in the companies they want to put it in, you don't know. Tesla might dip in a couple, this battery's messing up right now. Y'all better pay attention, right? So, like, take some control over. You spending all your time, trading your time for money. Like, you really need to, like, take some ownership in what happens to the money that you earn. And that's all I'm asking. Like, look at these types of investments. Look at these small businesses, because every business that you invested in your mutual fund started out as a small business. Somebody went to their friends and family, got money to start a business. So what we're doing is no different than any of these companies that you're willing to invest in. So you just got to stop looking at, like, the people behind it and take some risk and invest in some people. And I'm not saying, invest money you don't have, but if you're going to leave it in a bank account and you're not touching it, put it into this thing and let it work for you, because 20% on your money after a while, if you keep investing in, you're going to see that there's a point where it plateaus, where the money starts making it. You got your principal back and it starts making it for you. And a lot of times stuff like this with real estate, this can happen in 18 months. It's just not going to, happen in 60 days.
Treat it like your new savings account.
Yeah, yeah.
No. It's not going to be popcorn.
No. No.
So let me ask you this. Of all the inspiration that you talked about, what book has made the highest impression on you?
Okay, so these are not going to be fun books, but, and it's going to really say how much of a nerd I am, but that's fine. So the book that changed my whole thought process about everything that I do is a book called 12 Great Men of Wealth. And it just talks about building legacy and wealth, being able to leave wealth and transition wealth to generations. And it talks about a man named John Law. And if it's anything, and everybody that knows me, I tell them to get this so they can really understand the world that we live in as far as money. There's a guy named John Law. He was a French economist who was a crook. And they sent him over here to America, basically in exile. And he came up with this system of our Social Security and how we're doing things now, the Fed. Wow. He was the architect of all of that. But it's important to know that he was a European criminal that came over here. And this is the system that we're in. So a system developed by a criminal is the system that we have today. And everybody around here trying to act like they should do everything one way. So I think if you understand that we really are inventing this money out of air and it's not backed by anything anymore, and you read this thing, it will make you go about how you protect your money, protect yourself, protect things. It'll change your life in that perspective. So,
wow.
And then the 4 agreements. That's my go-to. That's my go-to, because you take on a lot of this stuff, you don't understand it, but that thing of understand and take people at their word and do the best you can and let everything go, I'm good. And then I understand the concept of serenity as well. Like, I'm not finna worry about the stuff I can't control.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you to the water you don't drink. I used to be getting all upset, like, you don't understand what you don't see. Are you kidding me? But now I'm like, okay, I'll see you when you get back, because you're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Because what I'm telling you is truth.
Cause you know what I realized, Errol? So we started out in real estate, so we used to seeing beyond the current circumstance. And that is really faith.
Yes.
And when you start applying it, it's like we look in the goggle of 5D because we already see the end before the beginning. So you start applying that to other things, it's like, no problem, no brainer. And I didn't realize that was a superpower.
It is.
Because it's just something that you naturally do. You see it's something, we call it opportunity.
Yep.
Because I used to see the sign that said, we buy ugly houses. And I used to think, before I understood real estate, why would somebody want an ugly house?
Right.
And I realized that the person who sees that knows that opportunity lies in what you can't see right now.
Absolutely.
And that's the premise of the projects that you touch, the people that you invest in, even from investing in yourself.
That's it.
It's like literally starting with the unseen, like you see the untapped potential in someone, knowing that, putting it in the right place. That's why you're the connector.
Yeah.
You're good at putting people in the right place and position to win. Because literally, it's like that's your superpower, is to be able to wear that 5D lens where you can see the end. And you know what's in between? 4D, time. The time it takes to get from where it is 3D, the 4D is time, and the 5D is where you envision it to go.
And usually I respect people's time more than they do, because I understand the value of it. It is that one thing that you get from God that doesn't come from anywhere else, like the time that you have. So if you're wasting it, what are you saying? This is literally the gift. Like, nobody else can give you that. Nobody. So, like, for you to be wasting it and not being mindful and not understanding the value of it, that's bad business. So, like, I respect, now I do too much probably sometimes and I overbook myself, but I do, like, respect people's time and the things that the time brings and the talent. So I do try to make sure that if I see something or you talking about something and I know that if I put you over here with this person, it's going to work, then I'm, like, right on it, and to see if it's something so that we don't waste any more time. Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, what would be, because now you said a very good position where you're like literally the connector of making like an idea to reality.
Yes.
Like light speed can happen just by plugging in with you. What would you say to some starting off people? Maybe they're working a corporate job still. Maybe they're starting off in entrepreneurship, looking to get, full time, or, maybe they got a business that's going from 1 to 10 mil. What would be some advice, some tips or tricks for those people that they can use and, kind of implement as quickly as possible?
Mindset. That's it. Like, decide I'm going to do it. It's nothing else after. Like, once you make the decision, all the other things are going to come. But you really got to, like, stop lying to yourself. Like, this is what we going to do. Talk to yourself. And don't lie to yourself. Like, don't make excuses for yourself. Don't do any of that. Oh, I would have done this if I could have. Like, don't do that. Just do it. There's going to be things that are going to detour you, slow you down, stuff like that. But make the decision and go for it first. Like, once you do that, then the plan is going to come. Like, you know how much you're going to make. You know where you want to go. Like, that stuff we're going to help you with. But it doesn't matter if you really ain't sure that's what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Because we can get you what you need, get you resources. And whoever your circle, there is somebody around you that can get you to the end. But if if you haven't made the decision or you too fearful to make the jump, then nothing I tell you is going to matter. So at minimum, make a decision and don't let people deter you from that decision. But process wise, get your plan together. What is it? What's the end? What's the 5D? Even if you can't see it, what would you like it to look like when you got there? and then let's reverse engineer and figure out how to get you there. But make the decision, make the plan, and then we will re-engineer how to get you there.
So make the decision, stand on business.
Yes.
put pen to paper, write it out.
Yes.
And then
let's figure it out. Yep.
Okay.
Everything has a process, y'all.
Yes.
Everything. Tying a shoe, childbirth, walking, getting up, brushing your teeth is all a process. So once you decide what it is, we'll figure it out.
I love it. What were you about to say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I love it. How can people stay in touch with you?
Okay, so please, first, thedigitalD.com. I need 10,000 people to unlock. I promise we will get it back out to you. So, thedigitalD.com.
And when she said get it back out to you, get you money.
Yes, absolutely.
And just so people don't, mess it up, it's D with DEE?
Yes, I'm sorry. THE, digital, DEE. thedigitalD.com. And then I would like for folks to join my network, phenomenalhughes.com, so we can get you in and see what I can plug you into, as a matter of fact. So phenomenalhughes.com. We're on IG as Phenomenal Hughes Global.
That is amazing. Well, like I said, just meeting you has been amazing. The resources opened up, the contacts, the stages, the heart, the groundwork. So thank you so much for coming on the platform today.
Thank you for having me.
To really talk about it.
Yes, thank you so much.
It.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Errol, for getting me on here. I'm only reason I'm here because he told me, I need to try something. So I'm definitely glad y'all invited me. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. And for those who may be on the lookout, who may be searching. Wow.
This conversation may need to be for the Patreon.
I'm just letting it be known,
Okay. Well, thank you.
Would you ever go on that balloon show? Balloon show where they pop the balloons?
I barely made it here.
Listen, she ain't going.
And here you go putting me out.
Listen, because again, I already told you what happened. We had a previous speaker had a guy date, so for those who may be looking, men only.
Yes.
Just point it out there. You'll thank us later. But with that being said, Jessica.
All right. Well, as always, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like these. And as always, you got it. Let's get it.
Let's go.